Were you surprised? JD Vance is the guy.
I was not surprised. It's first of all, VP picks don't matter that much. Like we have like real data that shows it doesn't change the landscape very much. What it does for sure is give us some insight into how the candidate is thinking based on who they pick. This is not my original thought. There was a lot of chatter saying if Donald Trump thinks he's going to win, he'll pick JD Vance. If he's worried about his prospects, he's going to pick Marco Rubio.
Right.
Because Rubio could appeal to Latino voters. We've talked about this in a
Last
way.
week we were talking
Right.
about, oh,
Yeah.
it's going to be Rubio.
And so I do think that Vance is the least bad option because he is literally a Trump copycat. It is Control C, Control V, and
Yeah.
that does not expand his appeal. It does not. And so him
Biden said this
doubling
yesterday on the tarmac. Did you see that? He's like, carbon copy. Carbon
he
copy.
right.
Walked away. Yeah.
Yeah, and Vance is much more clearly an extremist than some of the alternatives, like a Doug Burnham, the governor of North Dakota or something, because he outright has said he would not have certified the election in 2020 as vice president. That alone is disqualifying to any normal person.
Yeah. And music to Trump's ears, by the way.
Absolutely. Number two, he supports a national abortion ban with no exceptions for rape or incest because he said two wrongs don't make a right. Good luck with that policy. And number three, he literally has no spine and doesn't stand by any of his values or positions. He is willing to do anything to advance his political career. He was a never Trumper. People already know this. This is all over the internet. He was a never Trumper. He said that Trump was likely to be America's Hitler. That's his word.
Mhm.
And now he has like been one of his most vocal proponents. And I think that for some people that will play well. And for many people, they will see that as
spineless. Well, here's my thing. If say he's VP and then becomes president, do I really want him at the negotiating table knowing that he's such a flip-flopper? And in 2016 was saying that Trump was, to your point, America's Hitler, that he was a never Trump guy, that he was an idiot, that he can't stomach him, that he's cultural heroin, all of these things. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, which isn't far. So it's just like, you give me no confidence. Not that I would even consider him like, he is not someone I'm supporting, but I look at these people and I'm like, okay, well, how do people view him? You can't trust him.
Right. So to point out just how extreme Vance really has become, he also did an interview where he referenced Andrew Jackson, former president, as a example for how Trump could push his agenda over the rulings of the Supreme Court. And so
you mean the racist, genocidal Andrew Jackson?
Exactly. So the Supreme Court had ruled in an 1832 case that the US government had to respect Native American legal rights to land ownership. And Jackson just straight up ignored the ruling and continued to let these white settlers take the land. And that is what led to what we now call the Trail of Tears and the deaths of over 60,000 Native Americans. And Vance is holding this up as the example to say, we are going to fire every single middle level bureaucrat in the US government. And when the courts say that that's not allowed, that that's illegal, it's unconstitutional, we are simply going to have Trump ignore the law. And this is the exact quote from Vance. You stand before the country like Andrew Jackson did and say, the Chief Justice has made his ruling, now let him enforce it. And you just do whatever you want. And that is how democracy falls apart.
1000%. The Trail of Tears is like I'm using air quotes, the pretty way that the history books discuss the genocide of an entire population of Native Americans in this country. If they're referencing a horrific thing that the United States has done as something that we should be modeling moving forward, it's sickening.
It is. And knowing how extreme the Supreme Court is, if they are already preparing to have to overrule this conservative Supreme Court majority, that this majority is not extreme enough for them, that should really give everybody pause, because we're getting the most wild, out of sync rulings from the court that we've gotten in decades. And they're saying they're not going to go far enough. We already know that they're going to rule against our crazy ass agenda. And so we're just going to ignore them. And
they have no interest in an actual functioning democracy.
Oof. And so once again, we circle back to where we started when it comes to this rhetoric question of, okay, Donald Trump got shot in the ear. That does not mean that we stop calling out the actual threat to democracy that he and now JD Vance pose to the
Mhm.
country, we have to continue to do that because they are saying the quiet part out loud. They are telling us what they want to do. And when that means the end of or dramatic erosion of democracy, we have to say
Yeah.
it.